Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. So, I've got an awesome treat for everybody today. We're going to do another group audit today. This one's cool because it's a completely different type of group and it's a big community. So, let's hop in and do this. All right. Um, this community is owned by one of our members. Hey, Alicia, how are you? This community that we're going to do an audit on today is actually a really awesome example. So it's run by one of our members, Sahil, and he actually has almost 35,000 members in his community. So it's super big. Another cool thing too here is he has it connected with his page, and he's got almost 1,000 likes on that page, which is really really cool. So what's going on here? Oh, Michael's calling me now. Gotta decline that so we can keep moving here. All right, so we're going to audit this group. It's a really great example for us because Sahil has this huge community and he wants to monetize it. And he's in a really, really good position because he has a lot of likes on his page that's connected with this group, and he has a ton of members in this community, which is fantastic. So we're going to really dig into how he can shift this group to something that's earning him income and kind of positioning it so that way he can get members in the right frame of mind for him to provide them, value and services. So this group is called Positive Shifts, and this is the kind of community where a lot of people love to get daily motivation and things like that. So people are very eager to join communities like this. As you can see, Sahil has plenty of posts and engagement in here. Actually, Sahil, if you can make me an admin temporarily for the group, that would be fantastic so I can look at some of the insights. But until then, I'm going to dig into some of the basics here. So one of the first things that I can see is that Sahil has been very active with his members, tons of posts. I mean, he's got interactions here and all these things, which are fantastic. Holy wow. He's got 313 comments here. This is his pinned post in the community where he tells a bit about himself. So this is actually a really great place to start. He tells about himself, what he's into, what he's passionate about, the purpose of the group, which is really, really fantastic. He does ask people to like his page, let them know who the admin team is. All those things are fantastic. One of the things that I would recommend that he could do would be to go back and to update and modify this welcome post. Right now he's telling people how he can support them in the group, and that's really great. But they're going to want to know how they can take it a little bit further, and some of them are going to be looking for one-on-one help, or maybe even a great way to transition to monetizing would be if Sahil created a freebie, like an opt-in, where people could go ahead and opt into that and to get some sort of guide, if it's 5 ways to be positive today or something like that. So he'll get those people on his email list and into his chat bot and start giving them daily value in other methods. And that's a really great way to go ahead and shift them into like a small paid product that'll really help them with their goals. So, I think he needs to add an opt-in here to give people some value, with a little guide or a little checklist on daily things that they could do. It would also be great if he started going live frequently in his community and start asking people, what are the obstacles that they're having on a daily basis. If they're, if they're stuck in negativity, if they're feeling down because of the, current things that are going on in the world, and what their obstacles are. And if he starts surveying his community to see what their obstacles are, then he's going to have the information he needs to go ahead and to create his paid product. So he definitely, needs to revamp this welcome message to go ahead and pop a link in there to offer people some value and get them into a nice little freebie, whether it's a short guide or a checklist, so he can give them value in that way, get them on his list, and start working them up the value ladder, with some items that are going to help them as they move their way along. So that'll be super helpful. I would definitely recommend, for Sahil to go ahead and put those posts in the community and ask what the obstacles are. People aren't always super eager to answer those when you post about it. So I think if he goes live in the community and is, speaking from the heart and connecting with people directly, he can ask what those obstacles are, and then they're going to answer on the live. They're going to tell him, what trouble they're having, if they're stuck in negativity, they're, having obstacles with what's going on in the world right now. And then, all you have to do is to ask people what they're experiencing and what they need to overcome right now. And he'll be able to figure out what sort of paid products he needs to create for these people to give them value and to help them get where they want to go. So that's super, super important. One thing that I did notice, and it's a little bit difficult for me to pull up right now, but when I came into Sahil's community, the questions that I was asked before joining the community didn't really pre-frame me as far as what kind of value he was going to offer in the community. So I definitely would recommend for Sahil to go in and to change his group questions. That's something that he's going to just go right into the settings here and change. We had talked about that previously, about not giving people obstacles when they're answering your initial group questions. Ask them things that are simple and make sure they're in line with the community. Hey, what do you want to get out of this community? And what their biggest obstacles are, things like that. Don't ask them anything that's too crazy, because you don't really want to create any barriers. You're just trying to make sure that they're a good fit for your community. And then that's also the perfect place, like you guys know, to go ahead and offer, that value item, whether it's a checklist or a guide or something like that. So Sahil can give them some value right off the bat. A few things too. I mean, we talk a lot about your cover photos in your group and how that conveys to people. I know you guys probably know I'm a big advocate of not having cover photos that are super spammy and over the top and crazy. But what I do notice here from Sahil's cover photo here, that first of all, he's not telling what people are going to get out of the community. He needs to, have a short blurb about what they're going to get out of the community, let them know that he's the host and he's the one giving value. And, to frame this a little bit differently, this cover says to me that, there's really nothing else here that the group owner is going to offer to give me value. They don't have any other items to serve me with my goals. So he really needs an image that can convey that. It can still convey positivity, but I'd love to see something that includes a picture of him or even lets us know that it's hosted by him, and what exactly they're going to accomplish, even if it's shifting to positivity with Sahil. I just need to see a little bit more here, because as a group member coming in here, this really doesn't give me the idea that I'm going to be provided with anything else useful that I can bring into my day that's going to help me be more positive or get past any of the obstacles that I'm experiencing. So that's super important. I can see here too that Sahil went and set up his group as a learning community, which is fantastic. He's got the first unit here. So what I would really encourage him to do is to go ahead and to build these out. If he starts going live every day, he can go ahead and add those lives to the unit and start teaching and giving people, tools that they can use to shift to positivity, get those in the units. And then the really cool thing is, you guys might know this because we've talked about it a little bit previously, but now Facebook does this really cool thing where when you're in the community, it's going to actually remind you to go ahead and to view the units and to complete them. So you can see here, I'm going to scroll down on the page a little bit, and it should pop up where it's going to tell me to go into the units in the group and complete them. Of course, now Facebook is going to make me look silly here. Actually, this will do. So basically, what Facebook does now, which is really, really awesome, is when you have learning units, it's going to remind you as you're scrolling through the feed that you have units that you need to complete. So you see this one at the top, it lets you click there. Facebook is acting a little wonky today because it's, you know, how it's kind of in limbo between the new UI and the old one. But if you scroll down in the discussion, what'll happen is you'll get these reminders and it'll tell you which units you haven't completed, which is really, really great because as a group owner, you know, back in the day, we used to have to do our email sequences and you do the whole consumption sequence where you're trying to get people, you know, to consume everything that, that you're providing them of value. But now what's happening is here in our communities, Facebook is actually helping us. So when people scroll down through the community, they're going to get reminders on which units to go into and which ones they haven't completed. Let me go over to the elite group here and let's see if I can show you because these are some really sweet reminders that Facebook puts up, and it really, really helps us as group owners so that our people know exactly where they left off and they can pick up. The cool thing too is when you're always adding new things to your community too, your members are going to get little notifications that you've got new things in your community and they need to go ahead and consume those. All right, so let's see. So this is this is a good example. So this is Michael's elite community, and I've got all the units set up in here. And you can see at the very top, you know, it tells you to continue to unit 1. So what this means is when I went in and added a few new units for Michael, that I didn't go ahead and click done when I added those. So Facebook is prompting me to go back in here so I can actually consume these units and click done. And then it's not going to keep reminding me that I need to consume those. And that's exactly what's going to happen to your members. So it's really cool because every time you're adding new things to your community, your members are going to be getting those reminders. It also this reminds me too, one of the best things that we can do as group owners is to have a video like this. So I created, it's a little video of me here going through the whole community and telling them how to get the most out of the group. And what I do is I tell them exactly how to consume the units, how to get help, and exactly what to do. So I'm going to show you guys this real quick. So I created an actual unit in this community that tells them how and where to get help. It tells them exactly how to use the group, how to reach out to us. It tells us how to use the topics in the community, how to find things in the events, which is super, super important. It tells them, you know, this is where you go to create help tickets. These are the classes that we have. These are the group support, ClickFunnels resources, things like that, how help articles and videos, and all these things. So I made it so that in this community, Unit 1 is something that every single person has to go through, and I'll show you this. In Unit 1, I make it so that it's actually a pinned announcement, and if anyone is new to the community, they have to go over to Unit 1, and they have to go through all the resources in the community. They have to watch the video on how to get the most out of the group, and basically follow these directions. I mean, literally, this only takes them 5-10 minutes tops. They go through all those units, which are how to get help, where are the events, how to get support, all that good stuff. They click done, and then when they come back here, they post, you can see there's, 88 comments. They post a fun GIF that tells me that they've actually completed this, to make sure that they absolutely achieve what I want them to do. I have actual pictures set up so that it's like, you always have to make things as simple as possible. Even if you think something is super, super simple, it doesn't mean that your new members are going to. So I show them, how do you get to the units? When you get to the units, what do? Click here, see all 5 posts. Go through these, how do you get support? You want to make things so that there's absolutely no question. That way, if you and the other people that run your community are busy, and you miss a question or anything like that, that they can literally make it through all this. I tell them, okay, this is how you go ahead and consume that unit. Click done to make sure the system knows that you've completed it, and go through that whole process. So, whenever you think something is simpler, there's always a way to break it down a little bit more. So I just want to dig into for a sec on exactly what I told people in this video on how to get the most out of the group. So what I do is I create a video and I come into the community and I show them, number one, how do you find the events? Because you as the group owner, you want to be making sure that you've got all your events going on here. Basically you want to be going live at the same time. You want to do it, once a week at the same time. If you can do it every day or a couple times a week, that's great. But at minimum, you want to be going live once a week at the same time, because you need your members to go ahead and to, be able to count on you and to know when you're going to be there. So you can see, we've got all different people in the community that do different classes, so they can see what the previous trainings are about. And they can see what the current trainings are. Like we've got one coming up today in a half an hour. So I let them know what's the place to go ahead and find the community events, let's see, how to find post topics. So I show them over here on the right. These are going to pop up in just a second, if I don't get foiled by Facebook again. On the right hand here, I tell them how to use these post topics. So I say, if you have a question in the community, there's a very good chance that someone else has asked it before. So I tell them to go ahead and use this search box here to check out if anyone else has asked the question. I tell them to come into the topics and let them know that these will pull up posts that are on the topic that they're asking about. So if they're asking about brand hacks, there's going to be 4 posts that are going to come up here. The other cool little sidebar I want to tell you guys as group owners too is that we have our keyword alerts set up here super strategically, so that when members ask about certain things, we get instant notifications about that, so we don't miss anything that they're asking us. I did a class on that a few weeks ago, and I can bring that back to the top of the group if anyone's missing that. But we do it very strategically so that we have it set up for topics, we have it set up for our own names, we have it set up for the names of the products, and then we also do some other tricky things to weed out if anybody's trying to spam or promote themselves, and also to keep an eye on any troublesome members. So that stuff is super, super important. All right, so I'm finally going to dig into the whole reason I even went in this group here to begin with, is because I wanted to show you how the group is going to prompt me to go ahead and complete the units that I haven't completed. Because as an administrator, I'm always in there adding new units, but it doesn't mean that I'm actually consuming them. And Facebook is really trying to foil me today. I don't know if this is happening to you guys as well, but whenever I'm trying to scroll through these different communities, it's just not really popping up today. So I wish I had a better way to show this to you. I think I might even be able to show it to you on my profile, because I think I took some screenshots of exactly what I'm talking about. So let's just see if I can pull that up and show those to you, because I don't want you guys to miss that, because there's something super, super valuable about our community, people coming into our community and scrolling through a discussion and getting that reminder that they have units to consume. That's why we really have to use the units strategically. And I know, a lot of people are saying, oh, I've been using the units forever, I put stuff in there, but I see how people are using them, and they're just haphazardly, throwing lives and videos and different things in there. You really have to create that yellow brick road for your members of exactly what you want them, the process that you want them to go through, how you want them to consume your material, and get them to the goal that you want them to achieve. So it's a much more strategic thing than people realize, because you want to lead them down that path of exactly where you're taking them. Okay, perfect. I found exactly what I was looking for. So what's going to happen here is this is exactly what I wanted to show you guys. As your members are scrolling through the feed, what's going to happen is these little bars are actually going to come up right in the middle of the feed, and it's going to show them the units that they haven't completed, which is really, really cool. And they can just click exactly where they want to jump in. So as you can see here, this is 3 units that I haven't completed because I'm the one who set them up, but I never clicked done. So as a group member, it directs me to my options for the units that I haven't started and units that I might need to finish, which is really, really cool. And then this is the other one that I showed you before. It lets me go ahead and continue. So if I've completed unit 1 and now I need to start at unit 2, it tells me how to pick up exactly where I left off. So that's why it's super, super important to set up your units in a way that's going to lead people through the path that they need to go through to go ahead and to consume all the value you have, and then to lead them up your value ladder. So, this is something I highly recommend if you're not taking advantage of the units in your group. I think that's how I got down this whole rabbit hole here, is that you really have to use these units. So you're going to be, putting your lives in here, and you're going to be starting to fill this with content that's valuable for your community, that's going to lead them on the path that you want them to be on. So you can have that freebie, the checklist or the guide, and think about, like, I would map it out just exactly the way that you map out your membership area for your courses and your programs. You'd say, okay, this is my value ladder, and this is how I'm going to get people from A to Z, and to go ahead and to lay out your units in that way. So super, super helpful. Let's get back to Sahil here, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole on that one. Events, I did mention that it'd be super important for him to go ahead and to create a weekly event that's going to be at the same time. It's going to be super important for him to go ahead and establish his authority, and that he's the one that's helping mentor the community and giving them valuable advice. So he's going to need to go ahead and update this cover photo. I wouldn't, like I said, I don't want it to be flashy or over the top. I really cringe when I see those ones that have like the bright orange and just like all the craziness. You can be classy and still convey exactly what it is that you're going to do to go ahead and help your members. So the other really cool thing too that we talked about is that Sahil is going to go ahead and he's going to update his pinned post to give people his freebie, to let them know about when he's going to go live, whether it's every week or once a day for a few minutes. And right now I even recommended once a day for a few minutes to just kind of find out where people's obstacles are. Then the other really cool thing that he's going to want to do is he's going to want to add that video on how to get the most out of the group. And the ninja hack for that is that he's going to go over here to his actual page, and he's going to post the video on his page. And when he posts it, what he'll do is he'll create it so that the post is not visible on the page. And he'll make it so that it's not visible because he doesn't want anyone on the page to see it. And he'll put it there, and he'll get the URL from the post. So it'll be a non-visible post. They call it like a ghost post. Make it so that it's not visible. Go ahead and copy and paste that link right into the actual welcome post here in the community. And what that does is that's the ninja way to make sure that everybody that comes into your community watches that video on how to get the most out of the group, and then you're going to be able to track video views. So you'll go into your Facebook Ads Manager, and you'll be able to do some simple targeting ads that are based on video views that are super inexpensive, economical, and a great way to get people to go ahead and consume that freebie you have and to start working their way up your value ladder, so you can help them with the solutions that you have to offer. So those are my recommendations right now. The other thing that I did mention briefly was that I wanted Sahil to go ahead and to take a look at his questions for the community. It looks like he might not be on. He didn't get a chance to make me an admin for the community, but I was asking him to go ahead and revise his questions for the community so that they're super simple, just asking people what they want to achieve in the community, what their current obstacles are, and then even giving them the opportunity to give their email in order to get the freebie or value guide that he has, or he can even just send them right to whatever his landing pages that he sets that freebie up for. You know, there's a couple different camps on that. Some people like to get email addresses and get people onto their list using like group funnels or, you know, group convert, things like that. But I work with Dan Henry, and he recommends doing it a little bit differently, where you actually, in your questions, you just go ahead and give them the URL where you're housing your freebie and let them go over there and consume it and get onto your list that way. So you're not having to worry about, you know, constantly using the group software to get people on your list. It's just working on, when you have a big community like this that has, you know, 35,000 people, it could be a lot of work to constantly have to use group funnels or something like else that to get people on your list. So instead, for one of your questions, you could simply just offer them the opportunity to go over to your URL. I'll show you how that works. Give me one sec, and then we'll finish up. I'll show you here in our community exactly how you can go ahead and change that. Because I mean, the thing is, right now, when you're starting from the beginning, it might not be a big deal to go ahead and, you know, to be using a whole bunch of different softwares, but you want to think long term about what's going to be the most feasible for you. Actually, it should be here under moderate. Here we go, membership questions. So when you go into your questions, so see, I've got super simple ones. I'm just qualifying people to make sure that they're the kind of people that they are going to find what I have to say useful. And what I was recommending is that for question number 3, you know, where a lot of people say, hey, what's your email? Can I send you a freebie? Instead, to make the barrier to entry really low, you can just give them your domain for where you house your freebie or your video or whatever it is you're going to give them of value, so they can head over there themselves and consume that. That creates a little less work for you. And then that also helps to, you know, to get people to consume that value and to remove that barrier, because a lot of people, when they first come to your community, they don't necessarily want to just give you their email right off the bat. All right. So I hope you guys found this super helpful. And Sahil, I'd be happy to follow up with you a little bit more, or even tomorrow. We can dig into your group quickly again if you just want to make me an admin, so that way I can come over here and look at your group insights and kind of check what's happening there, because I'd really recommend that you also start posting in your group each day to give people some actionable tips. And what you're going to want to do is go into your group insights to find out what times of day people are most active on each day of the week. And then basically you'll go ahead and schedule posts so that they're going out to the community and they correlate with those most popular times. All right, so I hope you guys found this helpful.